Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Right now, just in general across the Warzone meta, we've got a pretty solid variety between, some really good rifles to use, some good SMGs, LMGs, so on and so forth. And with that today, I wanted to go through every main weapon category that you can actually customize a loadout for and break down the best weapon and best setup in that category. So the best pistol, the best sniper, best SMG, etc, etc. So as we get into the setups, if you enjoy the video or if you find it helpful, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. It's always really appreciated. And of course, if you're new here or if you have not subscribed yet, every day I'm your one-stop shop for all things going on in COD. News, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns, it's all right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. So we're starting here first initially with the pistols, then we'll move up through all the regular primaries as well. But for the pistols, this one's actually already kind of flip-flopped around a bunch this year. Initially it was the Akimbo tier snake shots, then it was the Akimbo Renettis, but now it is definitely the conversion kit core 45. This basically acts as like a burst pistol, and it's insanely good at all ranges, but especially up close. It is a little bit awkward to use, so you do have to take some time to get used to it, but if you do so, I mean, this thing is crazy good if you're accurate. So of course, initially first up, we've got the conversion kit. This makes it shoot once when you press your trigger, and then it shoots again when you release your trigger. So like I said, it's kind of like a 2-round burst basically. We got the 30-round mag on here. You could also jump up to 40 if you really wanted to. Not going to be a huge difference there outside of just general mobility essentially. I don't love the iron sights, especially with the like sort of recoil that you have with the conversion kit, so I just went for the elo sight. This is more of a preference based thing here though. If you're okay with the irons or you want a different optic, feel free to go for that. The diode laser, faster ADS, faster sprint to fire, obviously clutch for a pistol build. Then I also go for the sonic suppressor XS just to keep me off the radar. Adds in a little bit better range, a little bit better velocity, so you can extend your engagements there a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but it's going to be efficient at what it does. Like I said, I mean, this thing, it takes a little bit of time to get used to, but man, does it fry. Now, unfortunately, with snipers, I mean, it's an incredibly obvious choice because there's one sniper that can one-shot at any range, regardless of what build you have on, and that's the cat. It's slow, it's heavy, but if you're looking for a true sniper that's going to one-shot knock players at 20 meters with quick scopes or at 200 meters with long-range sniping, it's this. It's an obvious choice, admittedly. Initially here, we got the Nightfall Suppressor. This is going to help out the most with velocity. I'm not really worried about range. This doesn't matter for one-shot snipes. I'm going for one-shot headshots. I want the least bullet drop possible, so the Nightfall is going to be great for that. Zang Barrel also helping out a ton with bullet velocity, and the Spire Point rounds also help out a ton with bullet velocity on there, so you're getting the best velo possible out of that. I also go for the rubberized stock pad just because I do run around with this as my primary a lot, so the base general movement speed is solid. That said, if you just rather have a faster ADS, switch over to the tack pad stock. Either or there is going to be a great choice. And then just behind the face cam, I've got the quick bolt on there. That way I can get my shots off faster back to back in case I need to get a knock or in case I miss my headshot and I just break armor. That's obviously super clutch there. So there's the screenshot if you need for your setups there. But yeah, clear and obvious best sniper. Now for marksmans, while it's a little bit more competitive than it was before, it's still got to be the MTZ Interceptor. This thing, despite the nerf, is still ridiculously good, especially over super long ranges where you can be accurate. A 3 to 5 shot kill, and the fire rate's not all that bad, so this means you can still melt players if you are a very accurate player, which it doesn't take much to do in this game with the crazy aim assist, obviously. So this thing is absolutely still nuts. Initially here, Spirit Fire Suppressor, better control range and velocity, that nice 3-in-1 combo that you really never see on suppressors, which is why this one is so valuable there. Because this is a semi-auto gun, I want the better recentering and stabilization, so Ripper 56 is going to be one of the best choices in the game for that. It's not doing a ton for just general recoil control, but that recentering and that's better idle sway and whatnot is just so important. Now personally, I go for the long shot barrel. Both of these barrels are good. Long shot just has a little bit more control, which I find makes me a little bit more accurate. That said, if you wanted Blackthorn, that's not a bad decision whatsoever. It's also very good, especially for super long range with that better velocity on there, but both of those barrel options are great. 20-round mag is the max, so of course we're running that. And then just for efficiency, I go for the 2.5 times Eagle Eye optic. I'm the most accurate and efficient with this as my scope here. Again, if there's a different one that you prefer more, that you're more comfortable with, always go for that with your optics there. But yeah, this thing, even after the nerf, is crazy good. Now for LMGs, this is by far the most difficult category when it comes to narrowing it down to one specific gun and saying, okay, this is clearly the best. My choice, it's got to be the Bruin. Just statistically, ease of use factored in, this thing's TTK from 0 to 90 meters and beyond really is the most consistent and reliable. That said, The Peel 'em Yacht with the conversion kit is right there. The DG is right there. The Eradicator is right there. The LMG category is easily the most competitive. So while I say the Bruin is the number one just because of, you know, its true TTK stats, you could absolutely make arguments for several other choices, and they're all valid. This category is insane, and that's why, like, in a top 10 video, you have so many LMGs. But as far as the Bruin goes, this thing is feeling just like prime Bruin meta back in Warzone 1. We got the Spirit Fire suppressor on here yet again, the Horizon barrel, which helps out with control and just velocity. No added range here, but when you see the damage ranges on this thing, that's not a huge loss because it's pretty crazy compared to the other options here. The choke angled grip is a great choice, especially if you want a little bit more mobility on an easy weapon like the Bruin. But if you want to go just for straight control, go for Bruin heavy support. That's going to be great for, you know, just general recoil control as well. I've also got the 60 round mag on here, makes it way more snappy, way more aggressive, basically that AR LMG hybrid. Then lastly, for your optic, I mean, you got choices here. I like the ELO side. I also like the NIDAR. Of course, the Eagle Eye 2.5 times is a standard one as well. I kind of switch back and forth a lot depending on how I'm feeling on any given day, but can't really go wrong there. This gun is so easy to use, and of course, it fries. Now for shotguns, again, I feel like this one's a pretty easy choice. There are some decent ones in there for sure, but the Lockwood 680 is by far the most consistent in the current meta, in my opinion. It's fast, it's agile, it also has like 2-shot kills for days and days here. So initially, because I want that, you know, mobility, I want to be able to run and gun with this thing, I'm going for the sawed off mod. This gives you so many better mobility stats, movement speed, sprint speed, ADS speed, sprint to fire. That's so clutch on there. I also go for the DR6 hand stop, which again is all mobility based, ADS speed, sprint to fire, general movement as well. The Bryson choke's going to make it even more accurate and help with those 2-shot knocks in there. The Lockwood Defender heavy barrel is also a great choice. Keep in mind this and the Hammer Forged are both solid. The Defender actually shoots more pellets, so those 2-shot knocks are going to be a bit more consistent. However, Hammer Forged has much better range. So if you're always running out, it also has better mobility for what it's worth. But if you're always running with it out, Hammer Forged is not a bad idea. It might save you in some fights, but if you're just using this exclusively close range, Lockwood Defender heavy is insanely good. Then lastly, 7mm laser, snappier ADS and snappier sprint to fire yet again, very standard here. So we are fast, we are aggressive, and this thing is a menace in the close range. The SMG category is honestly pretty competitive as well, especially between like MW2 SMGs and MW3 SMGs. But for me, it's got to be the Swarm. This thing's first initial damage range, which is only like 6 meters, is just miles ahead of everything else. It's killing so much quicker than other SMGs in that area. And then its damage drop off really is not that harsh. So out to 10, 15, 20 meters, it's still going to be incredibly efficient there. And it's not too difficult to use, especially with this setup on here, mainly based around control. It's still snappy and aggressive. Not as snappy and aggressive as it could be if you needed less control, but for accuracy purposes, I'm going all in on that here. Lacerda compensator is really good for horizontal control in specific, makes the bounce a lot less sporadic and random. DR6 hand stop, just like before, all in on mobility there. The Reckless long barrel here, better velocity, control, and range. And it's not really killing your mobility stats. Like 13% to ADS is decent, but could be a lot worse for a 23% increase to velocity, 32% increase to range. That's helping out a lot with that TTK being more efficient than other SMGs. The 50 round mag, you could jump up to 100 though if you really wanted to, could be pretty funny. And then also Fortress heavy stock here, a ton of control for only a 2% increase to ADS speed and 6% to sprint to fire. Absolutely worth the trade-off there. This is an insanely good stock build there. But yeah, this thing for running and gunning, obviously super close range, by far the absolute meta. For battle rifles, again, kind of tricky. The Bass B, as we know, is insane, but also the MTZ-762 is insane as well, and it's a little bit easier to use in terms of control and recoil there. So, you know, more players will probably be able to do well with the MTZ-762. Its magazine capacity sucks. It's only got 30 rounds, so that is a huge drawback, but to me, ease of use is outweighing the extra ammo that a Bass B has just a little bit there. This thing, as we've discussed in previous videos, is crazy. Now, this build is meant to be used in full auto. If you wanted to go for semi-auto, really just change out the underbarrel to one that helps out with recenter stabilization, and you're pretty much good to go there. But I got the 2.5 times Eagle Eye optic, again, just my go-to optic. That, as mentioned, 30 round max extended mag, which sucks that it's this small, but it is what it is. You can absolutely still fry squads with that. Ruin heavy support, focusing all in on that horizontal control, basically making this thing way easier to use. I like the clinch barrel for full auto, helps out with control, makes it more laser accurate, also gives you some decent range and velocity. And then of course the Spirit Fire suppressor, pretty standard there for the range, velocity, and control benefits as well. So this thing, when you land your shots, absolutely melts in the mid range, in the far range, even some close range too. This This thing's pretty broken. And then lastly here for the rifles, I gotta go the Ram 7. Again, there's some pretty competitive choices here, but the Ram, whether you're building it out for sniper support, it's going to be the best TTK and most efficient there. If you're building it out for long range, which is what I got here, it's the best TTK and most efficient here as well. So this thing's kind of outgunning all other rifles if you're landing your shots at really any range here. It's incredibly versatile. So initially 2.5 times Eagle Eye yet again. The 60 round drum you definitely want here. The fire rate is a little bit faster, so that'll help out a lot with that. I go for the Cormark heavy barrel, better range, better velocity, better control, better pizza. Papa John's, we had to throw it in there at least once. Bruin heavy support on here yet again. Then I also go for the Spirit Fire suppressor. I've actually switched on over to this recently. There is a decent amount of horizontal movement on the recoil pattern here, so if you wanted to use a compensator that really attacks that, you could do so as well. Just keep in mind you're going to show up on the radar when you're shooting your gun, but obviously Spirit Fire is a great choice as well. And this thing, like I said, doesn't really matter what range you're fighting. If you're landing your shots, you're going to be just a-okay. This thing's going to melt through the opposition. And that being said, those are the best weapons and best setups in every single category currently in Warzone. This will evolve over time, I'm sure, so we'll probably revisit this down the road, but this is how it stands right now. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like. And of course, if you haven't already, feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I'll catch you later. Peace out.